So what has been your experience as an early employee of a startup, and what do you do on a daily basis? Because now this is at least your second job as an early employee. I'm very interested to hear about that.
Yeah, so it's been different at a couple of different startups that I've been at. One was a bootstrap company. One was it was a company called HubSpot in Boston, and it was a 300 something person company at the time that I joined, and I had been put on a team that was like a lab almost. We were kind of sectioned off in a corner, and we were building a brand new product. And then Drift, I joined before we had any product or any customers or any revenue. And so the experience between all those were wildly different. The very first bootstrap company, it was like the oldest person on the team was 24 years old. And so that was very much like let's learn as we go. Like, we don't really know what we're doing, but we'll figure it out along the way. And so during that process, I learned a lot. I learned few things very deeply. Like, I really learned that this thing that I had done was a mistake, right? Like, I spent months, building something a certain way, only to learn way after the fact that I could have saved myself like 2 months of work if I had just approached it differently. And that was because we didn't really have anyone to like lean on and get experience from. Then joining HubSpot, it was wildly different. I had anyone that I could turn to learn about X, Y, or Z, right? Like, there was this engineer that knew everything about this type of product, or there was a marketing team that was amazing at writing content. And so I learned how that worked. Like, I had just been doing all those things by myself, but never having anyone shortcutting my learning. And so I started to learn a lot more things, like not as deeply because I didn't spend months making those mistakes. And then with Drift, I had joined, and the co-founders had built and sold 5-6 companies in total. And learning from them has been a very high volume of lessons learned less deeply. So it's like the more experience that the other people have in the startup environment that you're in, the more lessons you can learn. But you don't learn those, like the mistakes that I made at that very first bootstrap startup are like, to my core, to this day, I will not make those mistakes again because they were so painful. Whereas like working at Drift, it was, hey, I'm going to start working on this thing like this. And then the co-founder can just be like, hey, I've seen this before. You should probably do it like this instead. It was like, they could give me an answer, whereas I would just like try to dig up the answer myself before.